Hello, everyone. How you doing today?
はい、こんにちは。ようこそ。
Welcome.
みんなお疲れ様です。
Welcome to the stream today. As you can see, our picture for today that Yuki drew is what do we have here, Yuki?
梅雨です。
梅雨です。Yes, 梅雨 is rainy season in Japan. They have about a month where it's supposed to be really rainy. This year, what do you think about 梅雨 this year?
まだ始まってないよね、多分。
I think we just skipped it.
いやちゃんと毎年、あれ天気のニュースで言いますよ。梅雨が始まりましたとか、梅雨が終わりましたって言う。
So they say on the news every year, they say it started and it's finished, and they haven't said it started yet.
多分ね、まだ始まってないんじゃないかな。
I usually thought it was a little bit earlier than this, or at least right around now.
今日の天気ってどうでした？
Today's weather was supposed to be really sunny, but if I look outside, there's a weird hazy thing. It's very, it's cloudy, I guess, today. I thought it was going to be really sunny, but no. But it doesn't look like it's going to rain at all for like a week. Usually it's super rainy at this time of year, but it is not now, and that's called 梅雨.
はい、梅雨です。
What else do we have going on in this picture, Yuki?
あとね、カタツムリと、
カタツムリ。
はい。
ツムリ。これが this guy ね。
はい、カタツムリ。
If you can see him there, we'll zoom in a little bit. That is a
カタツムリ。そうです。
カタツムリ。And down here we have a
スネイルか、そうか、スラグは違うものだった。
Slugs don't have shells.
あ、そうか、しまった。はい。
おはようございます、ジャック。
おはようございます。
What's this guy?
はい、そいつはカエルです。
カエル。
あ、それ書くのやめればよかった。なんかさ、そう。
何やめればよかった？
こいつじゃなくすればよかった。超かっこいいフログがいるよね、世界には。なんていう名前だったっけ？
Kermit the Frog.
それかな
or do you mean the one that's used in all the memes?
あ、そうそう。
あ、そっち？
そう。そう。それ、私その T シャツ欲しい。
Their ex-wives took the house. That's nice. Is it easier to learn Japanese in Japan or easier to learn without being in Japan? Oh, I guess that depends on what you're doing here. If you're an English teacher in Japan, it might be easier to learn Japanese wherever you are now. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Depends on how social you are. Otherwise, it's always easier to learn a language in the country of its origin. Nihon do not pass go. How you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well as well.
元気かな?
Figured out today, Alexander loves the Tayform song. Oh no. Sure, you can imagine how much Danielle loves that. Oh, I can imagine. She's very happy.
また覚えちゃうよ。Tayform.
My grandmother, she just said that she showed the Tayform song to my cousin, and he got a kick out of it, and they were singing it together. So that's his first encounter with Japanese is the Tayform song. Jason says, hello, I found your channel a few days ago. It encouraged me to finally learn hiragana and katakana to follow you better. Nice. I hope that you have a good journey. And can learn a lot with us. We're releasing a hiragana, katakana video that teaches them all, but we're working on it now. But we finished most of the recording, and Dan is working on the edit right now. He might be a little quiet today. It's going to take a while. It's a big video. The script with the editing instructions was 57 pages long and 13,000 words, I believe.
はい。
Yeah.
そっちにね、集中したいんだよね。ちょっとだけ。
ね。I'm lurking in editing. Your cousin is ahead of the curve. Most of us wait many lessons before we get to learn the Tayform. It's the most important form. It might not be a bad idea to learn it first if you don't get discouraged easily.
ね、本当にさっきのさスラッグはさX ワイブズたちにさ
That was a joke, I believe. She said, is it true that snails are slugs or snails' ex-wives and the wives took the house? No, I think that was a joke. But it was a good joke. Just found your kanji story videos and helped so much with stroke order. Glad to hear that, Bokushingu's Kendo TV. Yeah, we're still working on getting the reading section of that redone. That's one of the things we wanted to talk about today. Today's going to be a short stream. It's going to be quite short. We're not going to play any games, I don't think. We're going to talk about some updates on what we're working on. and what we're going to be doing from here on out with the live streams. Yeah, so we have a little bit to talk about there, but let's we've got to catch up with chat first. Coming to Japan, Dan killed it with the editing on last week's video. Even though I got katakana hiragana down, I'm excited to see it. Yes, he did very good on that video. That video is doing very well. It's the best performing video we've had on this channel in a very long time. So a lot of that is thanks to Dan's editing. My birthday is today, and my italki tutor refunded our most recent lesson. Oh, that's great. Happy birthday, girl.
ねえ、誕生日おめでとう。
Thanks for stopping by on your special day.
ちょっと今からケーキに変えるか、この
She's going to turn this into a cake. Katakana version, yes, that's something we'll talk about as well. How did you make friends in Japan when you first came? Not in the same way I would do it now. I went out a lot drinking and to karaoke. And back in the day,
ね
yeah,
ドリンキングパーティー
drinking parties, yeah. My first day in Nagano City, I did training in Okayama City for a week or so. And then I rode up to Nagano, and one of my coworkers who I met here that day, it was her birthday. And she's like, I'm having a birthday party today, so why don't you come out? The day I arrived. So the day I arrived, I immediately went out and I made like 15 friends. And it just snowballed from there. So yeah, it was mostly going out on the weekends. And sometimes I'd go out to like a little shop in the small town I was living in on Thursday nights. And I didn't start work until noon on Fridays. So I could stay out as late as I wanted to. So I made friends that way. Awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. I finally made it to your live stream. It's 9 o'clock here, and I'm 75 years old in a 33-year-old's body, so I'll be in bed soon. Welcome to the stream, Mark. I'm glad you could stop by.
ありがとうございます。みんなさ、ひらがなのさ、ね、やつ見てくれてるんだよね。
I think a lot of people, most people here watched it live with us. We released it last week.
誰ですかライクとしてるのholy thumbnail っていう
Who
コ
are
メン
the
ト。
people who like the holy thumbnail comment? Yeah.
私です。
Maya Celeste says, I've been studying for 177 days now, and I'm starting to feel stuck and unmotivated. I'm on chapter 4 of Genki. I have a good grasp of kana and started some kanji lessons. Yeah, a lot of people reach that point and feel a little bit overwhelmed, I guess. There's always going to be, like with language learning, I've found, Maya, there's always ups and downs, and there's a lot of them, and they never end. You always have a moment where you're like, oh, I'm amazing, and then you're like, oh no, I'm terrible, or oh, I feel like I understand everything, and then it's like, okay, maybe I understand nothing. It's just up and down, and the trick, there is no trick, but if there was a trick, the trick would be to just keep moving forward anyway. If you feel stuck on the lesson, maybe look at the next lesson. Everything builds on, especially in the early days, everything that comes later builds on what came before it. So even if you feel like you don't get it right now, maybe it's partially that you don't have enough context for it, or you haven't seen it in action enough, so you can't really understand what's going on with it. So maybe moving on and seeing it in more context will help what you don't feel like you understand right now stick a little bit better. Because, there's like 3 examples for each section in Genki, which isn't enough to learn something. And even if you combine it with my videos, then I have maybe 5 or 6 more examples, and that still might not be enough to help it stick. But then if you combine everything with the full series of 23 lessons in Genki, and then the 23 lessons of my videos, for example, then you might have 50 examples of one grammar point, and that will help it start to stick. So the more you move forward, the more things start reinforcing yourself, and that's, that helps. I always feel terrible, said Christian. that happens. By the way, Andy, I've been using your journal thingy recently. It's genuinely so helpful. I haven't been this consistent with studying since I first started. It's pretty amazing, right? I mean, it's not mine. I think I modified it a little bit, but it was that Reisu, guys. And it's been really helpful for me too. I actually stopped. I was gonna not do it this month because I was away for the first couple days of the month, and I just didn't write it out. But I immediately started falling off, so I started it again because it's just too helpful. It's very helpful. I sort of switched it around a little bit this month to be more of like a journal, like his original one. But it's been quite nice. Pro tip: I still struggle with certain things in Japanese. 20 years in, don't feel bad. And he translated the whole last video, so Thiago or Tiago says, your channel is great. Do you have any tips for correctly pronouncing dadidudedo? I'm a Portuguese speaker and they sound something between d and l, but I can't pronounce them correctly. There's a couple different ways that natives do it, so you might be pronouncing them correctly. Like, I've heard plenty of natives pronounce a dadidudedo as laliludelo, like an L. And that's fine, like a tabelu. And I can't really say it like that, but it's not necessarily wrong. As long as you're not saying like it like the English ru, you're fine. Like taberu, just don't do that and you'll be fine. And since you're Portuguese, you can probably roll it a little bit, maybe a little less than a normal d in Portuguese, and you'll probably be fine. For English speakers, I tend to say think of it as something between a D and an L. So like somewhere in between there. Like I think that using an R for dadidudedo is probably an impediment for most English speakers who are learning Japanese. I studied French, although grammar in middle school, all through grammar in middle school, and every year I thought I've hit a wall. Yet whenever I'd review the previous semester's material, it was always easier. Yeah, for 100%. When I'd been learning it. The enemy of progress is perfection when it comes to languages. Ooh.
Hi.
Pop that up there.
できました。
Senor Serena, you've got a little birthday cake there. That's what Yuki's been working on. お誕生日おめでとう。
おめでとう。
Senor Serena.
ね
Happy birthday.
みんなケーキ食べるよね、誕生日の日。食べる？
急に何？
急にいきなり日本のカスタム感がなのか、なんか不安になった。
不思議な不安感が出ました。
そう、不思議な。
大丈夫ですよ。
はい、
みんなケーキ食べます。
よかった。みんな食べるね、ケーキ。よかったです。
So I just remind myself I'm always going to feel kind of lost. Yeah, I don't know if Maya-san is still here, but yeah. Just keep going. You'll be fine. So I just remind myself I'm always going to feel kind of lost. Yes, I was just in Neyagawa for a month. Had a difficult time with Kansai dialect.
あ、なんか寝屋川って聞いたことある。どこにあるんだろう。何県？
関西らしい。何県かわかんないけど。I sometimes forget the sentence structure for Japanese. Do you have any advice to remember it? Just keep going. Just keep going. There's no... My main piece of advice is don't think of it as like one structure. You don't have to remember some strange structure. Everyone always says like English is what is it? SVO and Japanese is SOV, or is it the other way? I don't know. It doesn't really matter because with Japanese, what it really is make sure the particles are attached where they're supposed to be. That's about it. Oh, we got a delivery. Hi. What did we order? What did I order? I can't remember. Anyway. First time catching a live stream, welcome to the stream. Melanie Perez, thanks for being here. Is it normal to avoid others to study? I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean, is it normal to avoid other people so that you can study? That's pretty normal. When I was studying hard Japanese, I would sometimes avoid going out, at least during the week, unless it was going to be with Japanese people that I could practice with. But, you know, that's up to you. Maybe it wasn't a delivery. Yeah. So anyway, with the sentence structure, you think you're forgetting it, but it's not that complicated. You just remember that the particles need to be attached to the word that they're modifying. If the object of a verb in the sentence, wherever it is if there is an object, it just needs to have the O particle. Like if you remember that, it doesn't matter where it is in the sentence, really. Tabeta. Sakana o. I ate fish. Like the verb is first. It's not supposed to be. There's like a little comma there, technically. But it's fine, right? Tabeta. Sakana o.
Hi.
It's fine, right? But you're thinking like, sakana o tabeta. You have to have it like that. But that's not how it works. It's kino. Tabeta. Kino. Sakana o. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You think it has to be kino wa sakana o tabeta, and then you mess it up and you're like, oh, I forgot the structure. It's not. You didn't forget the structure. It's fine. So, sakana o kino tabeta. Sakana o tabeta kino.
So 何でもいいんだよね、オーダーって。
It doesn't matter. That's what's so great about Japanese. The order doesn't really matter. Just worry about the particles. そうか。わかり。Thank you so much. It's an absolute must to watch your videos and understand the book. I appreciate your kind words. You're very welcome. Trolled by the delivery man. Was it a delivery?
あ、そうな、あれだった。ウェディングのギフトだった。
早っ。
ね。
Wow. When you go to weddings in Japan, you usually have to
So-
you have to pay. You don't pay, but like you have to give. You don't give gifts like you do. I don't know what it's like in every country, but in America, you usually give like a gift. There's like a registry, and you choose something from there, and then you bring the gift to the party or have it sent to the wedding, the married people. In Japan, you pay $300. And they have to be brand new $100 bills, and obviously it's yen. If it's close family, it's usually like $500-ish, and then you give that. But then a lot of times you'll get like this gift book. It's like a catalog, and you can choose one thing from the catalog that's worth, I don't know, 3,000 yen or $30, $50, something like that. And you choose something from the catalog, and then it's sent to you, and you get like treats and stuff at the end that they give you. It's interesting. Anyway, we went to multiple weddings, so one of those came.
で、スペシャルエンベロップに入れなきゃいけないしね、そのブランニュービルズを。
Ah, yeah, you have to put the brand new bills into a special envelope as well. I have ADHD as well. Seriously, watch his journal video. It really helps. I think the journal's amazing. Hey, Andy, what do you think of Stephen Krashen? Stephen Krashen is... I'd like to jump into some of his research. I'm currently reading something else. I'm reading The Theory of Instruction, which I'm finding very, very interesting. I'm not sure how relevant it is for teaching adults, but still, that's what I'm working on right now. I think Krashen might be one of the next things I read. I don't know enough about him to have like a super solid opinion. I've heard both positive and negative things, possibly that his research wasn't as in-depth as it could have been, but I've also heard that it's really good. So I don't know. I can't answer the question perfectly for you. The way I heard it explained once was like a train. The first train is the verb that pulls the sentence. The other subjects are extra cars and are connected by particles. Was interesting. Interesting. So if I said, 私は日本語を話します少し, would that be the same as 私は日本語を少し話します? It would be. It would be fine. Generally speaking, you'd have like a little pause after the verb. 話します少し. Usually. But like, it would be perfectly understandable because adverbs, which is what 少し is, are always modifying the verb. And the verb in the sentence is 食べます. So regardless of where you have 少し, it's modifying the verb. So yeah, it doesn't matter a whole lot. Generally speaking, like a native might say that, but they'd have like a little pause after the verb. So they'd say like 私は日本語を話します少し. Something like that. Right?
そう。一応ね、それね、特別な文法の方法で、統治法っていうやつなんですよ。
Oh, there's a name for that. 統治法って。
そう、なんか英語みたいにその全部最後から言うやつ。なんか銀行に行った何々の後で、そのなんか少し何々のためみたいなその目的をどんどん後につけていく。
putting like parts of the sentence at the end like that. It's called one more time.
少しとかのやつのも統治法っていう。
統治法。Can we type that out?
統治法で出てくると思うんですけど。
統治法。
そう、こ
れか。
そう、それです。
That one. Interesting.
これ、なんか説明があるのかな?
But yeah, if you look that up, it might have some more information on that.
そう、これがあるから、これがあるからっていうわけじゃないんですけど、そうなんかオーダーが何でもいいじゃないですか。
日本語はこうからこういう名前があると思う。その逆なんだけど。It's important to remember that especially with grammar and stuff, is that the language is this way, thus there is this kind of grammar. It's not the other way around. Someone didn't make the grammar and then that's why the language is that way. The language is this way, so people have extracted these grammar rules from it. For catching back up, I like listening and shadowing and bonus grammar sentences while I exercise. It helps refresh my memory. Nice. I'm glad that those are helping. Train metaphor sounds like Kira Dolly. Her stuff made a lot of sense. I'm working my way through her videos now that I have enough knowledge for later stuff. Nice. Katsumi Richards. Hatsumi desu.
初見
です。
はい。
日本語が
日本語
日本語
で
でチャットとコメントするのは役に立つと思います。皆さん頑張って。ありがとうございます。勝美さん。
ありがとうございます。
カイサオピピ。おはようございます。初めて日本語を勉強する人にかなを教えるコツはありますか？ I think that using stories is always a great way to memorize something. Kind of like I teach the kanji. There could be a couple ways you do it. You could think of the different parts of a hiragana as some part of a story, and then you make a story from those parts to like put it together, kumitateru tameni. Or you can think of what they look like. Like for example, I think that the character U looks like a person getting punched in the gut, and they're like this. Their head is up above, and they're like their legs and their feet, kind of like a cartoon character. I guess I should do this, like a cartoon character, like this, and their head is back, and I think that's what U looks like. So if you give an image of that,
私はね見えなかったんですけどね。
she looks so entertained. If you come up with things like that, it can help make those things stick, especially if it's silly. Our coming up hiragana and katakana video, which is going to be like 3 hours long, is going to have a lot of that. Also, honestly, just writing it out along with the story, writing it out a few times can be very, very helpful. Excuse me. Do you still get jozu? I actually don't get jozu as much anymore, which is interesting. I used to get jozu a lot, but nowadays people don't even bat an eye. I don't know if people are just more used to foreigners who speak Japanese, or if it's gotten good enough to where we can just go into the conversation. No one has to actually like stop to bring up the fact that the Japanese is okay. I don't know. People don't mention it anymore.
まあそう
最後
だ
に日
ね。
本語が上手ですねって言われたのはいつだろう。わかんない。I get sometimes asked if I'm half Japanese, which is flattering.
あ、そうだよね。本当だよね。
日本人ですか? I've been asked if I was Japanese quite a few times actually, which is sort of
なん
an
か
ego boost.
多分通じてそうだなって思って、まあ、別に通じてるならいいかゾーンになっちゃったんじゃない？
Everything
もう
seems to be making sense to him, so I guess we'll just let it go. Well, I must be smarter than I thought. I always doubt my Japanese when I try to make my own sentences. Yeah, just keep trying. When I get fluent enough with Japanese, I think it would be fun to study the grammar from a Japanese textbook to learn those native terms for things. Yeah, there's a ton of really great websites actually about Japanese grammar that teach it in Japanese. There's one that I really like called Ede Wakaru. It's understanding through pictures. edewakaru.com or .jp or something like that. And it has like little comics that explain the grammar and then an explanation below with example sentences and the other types of grammar that it's connected to. Little websites like that can be very, very, very helpful. Even if you're not like really, really good yet. It's all in Japanese, and that can be a very fun way to study. I use those a lot. Could you guys please explain detekuru? I see it everywhere, but I don't really get it. Detekuru. 何か出てくる。誰か出てくる。
はいはいはいはい。多分そのさ、ていくてくるっていうやつがさ、難しいですよね。
It's funny.
きっと。
Yeah, I actually did a where's my channel? I'll pop the link in chat. I did a 20-minute video with someone on this. So it's not something that can be explained actually like super simply because there are multiple usages of teikuru. Here's the video. Where I talked to a guy named Brian who created Satori Reader, the website, about teikuru. Because detekuru is not like the word. It's deru plus tekuru, which is a grammar that means a few different things, like to come at you or to begin to happen in a certain way. Like there's a few different ways that happen, but detekuru is like to appear or something like that, depending on the situation.
まあ pops up の時もあるし
Pops
coming
up,
up の時
coming up.
も
Yeah,
あるし
there's a couple different things, but you might want to check out that video because it's more than we could explain on a live stream. Yeah, the train thing is Kiridali's. Oh my God, Jun, what's going on? Good morning. I often see faces in kanji. Looks like a crazy-eyed person to me. Wada looks like a crazy person to me, which is funny, which makes me laugh. And ta-da, I know it. That's good, yeah. I've just finished Genki 1 and know my vocabulary pretty well, but I'm having issues training my ear. I've watched the bonus material on your site, but still seem to have trouble. Do you have any tips? Just keep going. I personally, this is me, it might not work for everyone. I found becoming able to say something made it easier to hear. So shadowing helped me a lot. And just trying to speak what I've learned, saying it out loud and stuff, helped me hear it more. That's what's the word for that? Anecdotal, obviously, but that's what helped me. With that said, just listening a lot more will help. Listening whenever you get a chance, watching native Japanese stuff whenever you get a chance, and just listening for stuff that you know can help. But it's always difficult. It's always difficult in the beginning. Yeah. 英語もそうだよね。
そう。
English too.
そうだね。
I've tried YouTube at slower speeds, but wonder what content could work well. Yeah. I don't watch a ton of YouTube videos at all. And Japanese not so frequently either these days. So I don't have a lot of good channels for you, but other people in chat might. Andy is... Are You Part Japanese is level 2 of getting chosen. At least, yeah. Any Japanese kid shows on YouTube you'd recommend for learning? Unfortunately, no, I don't know any Japanese kid shows. But someone might in chat.
アンパンマンとかじゃないのかな?
On YouTube.
On YouTube か。わかんない。
How important is pitch? It's an interesting question. I think it's important I think it's worth being aware of and listening for. Do you need to
調べるか。
to get a headache over it and spend all your time trying to get it perfectly and comment on people speaking and saying, oh, that's wrong and stuff like that? No, it's not that important. It's worth being aware of, though, because you will sound more natural and you likely won't get misunderstood most of the time if your pitch is off, because contextually speaking, it's going to be a certain word that you're saying and people will know that. Will things go a little bit smoother if your pitch accent is a little bit better? Yes. Trying not to emphasize like we do in English, just like I did now. Emphasize. Trying not to do that kind of stuff when you're speaking Japanese is already a huge step in the right direction. Also, making sure you extend your vowels or don't extend your vowels or add your glottal stops with the small tsu. Getting that stuff down is more important, in my opinion, than pitch accent. Those things are way more important. But still probably worth being aware of. At least learn what the patterns are. I think is definitely worth it. Do you recommend any specific Japanese dictionary apps? I used to recommend the app just called Japanese, but apparently it doesn't work on Android anymore. So I no longer use Japanese to English dictionary almost ever. I still have the Japanese one on my iPhone just in case I need to look up what the English is for something. So I'll have a Japanese word and I can't remember what it is in English, and I'll look it up reverse, and it usually works better that way. Most Japanese to English dictionaries work really poorly from English to Japanese, but from Japanese, if you're looking up the English, it can be very, very useful. I just use the dictionary app on the iPhone, and I bought a few actual dictionaries on that app, and I found that amazing. That's been great. Taking M3 exam July 7th. I've been watching your Quartet series videos. They are great. Until which lesson do you recommend for the M3? I think you said maybe lesson 6. Yeah, something like that. Quartet 1 covers most of M3. Funny, I need to see the word to be able to hear it. That can help. Turning off the subtitles, even the Japanese ones, sometimes is a good exercise. Because especially if you find that you have to have them on to understand, you probably do want to turn them off sometimes so that you get some practice without them. Yuki's writing down a kid's channel that she found. Pop that up there. The past week.
なんかこれが人気らしい。熊場。
Of course I know about sentence binding. Sentence binding is very useful when you get to a certain level. I don't think it's super useful day one, because I think that plus one is a better concept for beginners, where you have a sentence that only has words you know and then there's only one word you don't. That's the best idea. Sentence binding is almost impossible to make that happen with. So I think that's for a little bit later in the journey. Personally, I have opinions about Migaku. I think they are starting to make some good products. And I've talked about this in other streams, so I'm not going to get into it super deeply. But I have like ethical reasons, issues with Migaku, so that I don't really recommend their stuff very often. Apparently, some of their stuff recently is good. I'm not going to get into why. I've done it. I've talked about it in other streams, but so I don't. I have mixed feelings about Migaku. Anyway, Yuki picked up a YouTube channel, kids channel two that are quite popular apparently. Shimajiro channel and Kumabacha channel.
クマーバが多分
Kumaba channel ね。
キャラクターの名前で、チャンネルは
チャンネルだね。So if you look up the first part, Kumaba or Shimajiro, they should pop up. YouTube でおすすめニュースは何ですか? News is difficult. I don't really watch the news on YouTube much. Something will pop up and I'll just watch it. But maybe NHK or something.
でも NHK じゃないんだけど、でもいろんなテレビ局から出てる YouTube 版のやつ。
Yeah, there's lots of television channels that have their own YouTube that you can watch. But I don't know. FNN, TBS.
So TBS とか
ANN News Channel.
日テレニュースはテレビだよね。テレビと同じ感じ。
There's a couple. Have you tried podcast? The issue with podcasts is there's a lot less than there are in English, so I used to have a hard time following them. I think there's more now. My friend says that it gets much more fun after Genki because then it's more immersion. Is this true? I mean, obviously, yeah. Every language gets more fun after the beginning because you can start having, actually using it. So 100%. I was working through Genki, but I noticed I would forget things I learned in previous chapters. Do you think it's worth using a Genki Anki deck in tandem with the book? It can help. I have mixed feelings about forgetfulness. No excuses says, ありがとうございます, Yuki sensei. I have mixed feelings about forgetfulness. I'm still researching this, but and still thinking about it. But a lot of people always get really frustrated that they're, quote, forgetting things. But the thing is you can never remember everything. Like, it's just not possible. And the more you learn, I said this to Brittany the other day in Discord, the more you learn, the more things you will forget than remember. That's just how the brain works. You can only have so many things in your mind at the same time, and you're going to forget most of it. That doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to remember that thing without studying it. It's going to show up again, especially like for a lot of you guys who are, for example, on Genki 1 or even Genki 2 still. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course. It takes a while. A lot of you get stuck and you think, oh, I don't remember this thing from back in lesson 3. And you're on lesson 8 or something. So you feel like you have to go back to lesson 3. But I don't think that's necessary. I mean, obviously, if you're in school and you have a test that's going to need that thing, like that's another issue with whether or not the way they teach things in school is useful. It's not. But otherwise, for example, lesson 3, mas des. How often in day-to-day life do you encounter mas des? Yuki-san.
そんなに使ってないと思います。
mas des?
本当？だってさ。
日中どれぐらい聞いている？
そんなに
外に出ている時には。私たちはこの家から出ないからいい例にはならないんだけど。
じゃあほとんどですますですね。家族と話す時以外はもうほとんどですます。
She said, beyond when you're talking to family or close friends, and with us we don't leave the house much because we're always working, so we don't use des mas a whole lot. But if you're outside of your family group, which most of you will be if you're actually going to be using Japanese, you're going to be out in the world or having a lesson with a teacher, you're going to have it all, it's going to be around you all the time. How about when you watch TV? How much do you hear desmas?
もうほとんどですます
Almost all the
だよ
time.
ね。
Almost all the time desmas.
うん
So you're in lesson 8. You think you've forgotten desmasu, how to make the mas form, but you're going to hear it so much throughout your journey that it doesn't matter that you've forgotten it. You're going to pick it up because you're going to run into it so much. And that is true of everything in Genki 1. There is nothing in Genki 1 that you're not going to encounter constantly throughout your journey. Nothing.
うん
There's nothing rare in Genki 1. Nothing.
まあそうだね。
I can't think of anything in that book that I don't hear all the time or that I don't use every day.
うん。まあ結構使うよ
I
ね。
think I use everything in Genki 1 every day.
本当に使うと思います。
Let me look at the list. いいよ。
まあ元気1だけじゃ不十分だなと思うことは
Oh, yeah,
すごい
Genki 1
ある。
isn't enough for
すごい
it's not
思う
enough
け
for
ど。
day-to-day life at all.
うん
Genki 2, you're getting there, and beyond the honorific sections of Genki and the extra modest expressions, which really are just there so that you're aware that they exist, and when you go to like a really fancy restaurant or have to talk to someone on the phone, like a company, you'll know what they're saying. That's all that they're there for. You don't need to learn how to use those things. But beyond those lessons, everything in Genki 1 and 2, use it every day.
そうだね。
Every day. And you encounter it every day. Here it is, my Kindle. Which means that you don't need to have it perfectly memorized. Because, oh shoot, I can't open it on my phone because I have it open on too many other devices. So,
すいません。あ、こっち開けるかも。
大丈夫. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. So yeah, don't worry that you're forgetting things. It doesn't matter. One thing I do is watch short 1 to 2 minute videos in Japanese 3 times. First, just listen, no subtitles. Second, Japanese subtitles. Third time, I will turn on English subtitles. It's a good idea. It's just with new words, like when I'm at Kendo or in Japan, once I hear a new word, I can't get it until I see it in hiragana. I see. Yeah, when it's a new word, at least early on, it's hard to pick it up. Later on in your journey, you'll find that you don't need to see the word when it's a new word to actually learn it. Because you'll be able to hear new words within context because you know everything else around it. So you know that the one thing you don't know is the new word. So that changes. For anime, there's a site called Animalian that has anime with Japanese subtitles that you can highlight and translate as you go or turn off altogether. Great for learners who want to learn anime. Nice. Careful with the legality of that. I can't actually share that site. But it's definitely useful. So my friend, okay, I've got all that.
なんかそのさ、元気1で、レッスン3でさ、マスやるじゃないですか。バーブマスフォーム。もうそれが完璧だったら他のフォーム結構いけると思う。
In which is it? Sorry, I missed the first part of what you said.
元気1の
元気1's mass form.
そう、
Yeah.
レッスン3のマスフォームを
Yeah.
のそのバーブの
The
さ、
stem.
そうそう
Yeah, if you can do the stem, you can do like so much in Japanese.
そこなんかマスフォームのそのカンジュゲーションをマスターすれば相当他のカンジュゲーションもしやすくなると思う。
Once you figure out that pattern, you've basically got the idea of how to conjugate in Japanese down. I have the same question in my head. It's obviously helping me understand the sentences I made myself basically memorize, but is that helping me outside of that? No idea. It's hard to know for sure. I think the thing with Anki, and once again, I'm not 100%, I haven't thought about it enough, but flashcards are interesting, but they're limited. What they're good for is when you do encounter the word in real life, you may remember it because of your Anki cards, but will you be able to really use it and understand it perfectly just from a flashcard with one sentence? Doubtful. You're probably going to have to encounter it a lot more to actually learn it, like to really learn it, to be able to use it correctly and understand it in context correctly. So Anki should not be your whole life. Some people get to the point where like their entire studying is 2 or 3 hours of Anki, and you don't want that to happen because, like I said, you forget most of what you encounter, most of it, and that's fine. But why it's fine is you're going to be encountering it in other mediums, which is what helps it stick, which is what helps you learn it, not what helps it stick. It's what makes you learn it so that you don't have to remember it. And flashcards aren't quite good enough for that. Yeah. Anyway, I have to think about that more. But anyway, I don't like the Genki Anki deck, to be honest. Have you played any of the Persona games? I've seen people recommend playing them in Japanese for learning, but I'm unsure what level I should be before that. I played the first 20 minutes of Persona 4, and it just wasn't my type of game. A lot of people really love them, but I don't know why. I just wasn't into it. But most people love it.
Persona?
Persona.
私ペルソナやったことないからな。
Yeah.
でも面白いんですよ。
Apparently it's really fun.
結構人気だよね。
The story is apparently really fun. People love the gameplay. I just didn't get far enough. Like I started the game and I was like, okay, I'm bored already. But I don't know why that was. With that said, the Japanese isn't too bad, but you're gonna have to finish at least the first 2 Genkis before you're not miserable the whole time playing it. I feel like I think. The school point is so good. I try to learn Japanese the same way I learned it to learn in school. Like I can't move on without mastering the previous lesson. Yeah, don't do that. Don't worry about that. これ読んだよ。これこれお願いします。以前はヒントを本当にありがとう。かなを勉強するには物語を使ったりと面白いものを使ったりするのがいいと思います。チャンネルを生徒たちに勧めます。ありがとうございます。カイサオさん。I try to remind myself that even though English is my native language, I forget blank words sometimes still. Absolutely. On the topic of games, would it be worthwhile to play games completely in Japanese while still in the pre-N5 phase, or would that be inefficient for learning?
どこ読んでる？
ここです。
はい。
Hey Joseph, I don't know if you're still here. It was a while ago. 6 minutes ago. I'm 6 minutes behind. I'm going to drop down to the bottom. It depends on what type of person you are. And not on what type of learner you are, because apparently that's a myth, that there are certain types of learners. There are different types of ways people think, whether in images or words and things like that. That seems to be a fact. But what I mean by what type of person you are is, are you the type of person that can not burn out even though you're going to have to look up literally every single word, and it will probably take you an hour for every single piece of dialogue? If you're okay with that, then you'll be fine. Is it efficient? It's not efficient. Will it be effective? It may be. If you don't burn out.
あ、でも私そういうやり方すぐバーンアウトしちゃう、ね。
Yeah, Yuki's not that.
全然できないよね。
In that direction. I was not either. I'm okay if I have to look up one word every sentence. If every single sentence has one word I have to look up, I'm okay with that. That won't burn me out. If I have to look up more than one every sentence, the thing is too hard for me. I'm going to come back later. So I'm not the type of person that can do it. Yuki's not. I know I don't think most people are. There's a weird type of person. I say weird. It's a little rude, but they're not weird, but they're rare. There's a rare type of person who can do that. If you think you're that type of person, or if you don't know if you are, you could try it. And if you find it after the first time difficult to make yourself go back and do it again, you're probably not that type of person, and that's okay. Come back later. I don't feel like I understand a word until I've heard it a bunch of times in context out in the wild. 100%. That's just a fact. I think that's true with every type of information. You don't actually learn it until you've encountered it, used it, experienced it, etc., etc. There's so many words you can easily figure out once you have more kanji. Kanji can help, yes. I'm working on not being emotional when I forget something. It's just a periodic reminder. Exactly. That's all it's there for. Just to remind you of something you're about to forget. Definitely don't get emotional when you forget something, because you forget everything. You've forgotten more in your life than you will ever remember. Ever. And that's normal. And apparently, there's research that shows that you never actually forget something. It's there. And if you see it again, it will bring it back to you. And maybe you won't remember exactly what you mean, but you'll remember that you've seen it. And then the more times that happens, the more you learn it. So don't ever think of it like there's anything wrong with you or anything like that. Now I'm at about 1,000 mature kanji cards. Nice. I subscribed to your site a month ago, but I have been so busy I haven't been able to use it yet. Oh no, well, let us know if you have any trouble with it or if you have any feedback. It's always helpful. Thank you for the support.
はい、ありがとうございます。
That's how I feel about Skyrim. I just couldn't get into it. Yeah, same. I got 20 hours into Skyrim many, many years ago, and then I had to stop for a week. And every time I come back after stopping for a week, I forget what I was doing, and then I can't get into it again. So I think that's an issue with a lot of long RPGs. The only time I ever got into a really, really, really long RPG was probably Morrowind, and that's because I had a whole summer vacation to just do the whole game without any days off. And that's the only way I can really play games like that.
さ、そのスカイリムとかのそのゲームだけじゃないんだけど、例えばそのもしゲームをさ、なんていうの、英語版のゲームを日本語でやるとしたらとか、その英語を学ぶために英語のゲームを英語のままでやるって私が考えた時にさ、なんか分かんない言葉がいっぱいあるじゃん。その特別なさ、言葉がいっぱい出てきて。
The first time I played Dragon Quest is like that as well.
そう。あとそのさ、日本語と英語のその文法っていうか、なんていうの、言葉、なんか物事を表現するその着目点が違うじゃないですか。
And that's an issue with translations as well. Like English books, like reading Harry Potter in Japanese is a little weird because there's a lot of ways that you would turns of phrase that they needed to translate into Japanese in some way, but is probably not how a native Japanese person would say it.
そう、本当同じこと言ってんだけど、その見てる場所が違うから違う言い方で同じことを説明してるんだよね、英語と日本語って。
Yeah, Japanese, yeah, they explain different parts of it, or they're looking at it a different way, or they just have different phrases for things, yeah.
そう、だからなんか何言ってるか全然わかんない。
So Yuki brought up a good point, is another thing to be careful about, not to be careful about, but to keep in mind when you play a new game, especially if it's a game that was originally written in a different language that's been translated into Japanese, is that it might not be natural Japanese. Like, for example, if we were playing Skyrim, in which I was playing some Skyrim a couple months ago in Japanese. And there's going to be a lot of, like, that world, especially in fantasy worlds, language related to that world that isn't used in real life. So you're definitely not going to know that. That's going to be your first encounter with it, unless you've played a similar game. Or, like, when I played Dragon Quest, there was Dragon Quest specific words. Or when she played Elder Scrolls Online in English, there was a bunch of words that were specific to, like, races within the game, different turns of phrase that aren't real English, or lots of, world-specific words. And also, when it's translated from English, there are ways that we say things in English that we don't in Japanese, but when they translate it to Japanese, they do somewhat of a literal translation sometimes, so it's not always super natural. You'll notice if you read a translation of a book in Japanese from that was translated from English, like I read Harry Potter in Japanese, and it was fine, it was good. But you can sometimes feel that it's not Japanese. There's a lot of, like, turns of phrase that are maybe more British, and then there's, like, there will be a lack of certain, like, onomatopoeia that you would have a lot more in a Japanese book when explaining something, and that's just yeah.
でそういう時ってさ、ね、言葉1個ぐらいは調べてもいいと思うんだけど、全然わかんないでもホールセンテンス意味不明みたいな感じ、そういう時はもうとりあえず読んでみるけど、ほっといてでなんか他のそのしばらく経つとさ、そのいろんな文法とか違うなんていうの表現の仕方が他のところからなんか使えるようになってきて、であれってそういうなんか言い方難しかったけどこういう意味だったのかな。
Well, that's basically passive immersion that you're talking about right there. Yeah, she's saying when she encounters sentences that have way too many words that she can't, like, she'll look up one and maybe one or two words, but if there's just too many, then she'll just forget about it and keep moving on, just so that she can play the game and still enjoy it. And that can be an approach. I'm the opposite. I look up every single word, 100%, every single one.
でもね、諦めちゃうからね、すぐ私。
Right, I don't get emotionally involved with it at all.
そうだけどなんかその方が
Hold on. Well, go ahead. その方が。
なんていうの分かんなくても一応その未来にどこかにつながる時が来るかもしれないから、まあそれ
In
は
the future, it might come together for you
そう
if you
そう
encounter it enough.
そうそう
And
なん
that's
か
basically
だから
passive
なん
learning.
か私的にはすぐ全部分かんなくてもいいって思ってる
For
の
her, she feels like she's fine if she doesn't understand it all right away. She feels like it'll come later, and sometimes that does happen. Now, personally, I think that's necessary, especially for some of you. I think a lot of you who do get emotionally involved with the language learning itself, and you feel like you get discouraged if you didn't understand something, as in like you feel like it's something wrong with you, or if you get really depressed when you don't understand something. Like I'm not like that. I'm completely divorced from the experiences as far as like emotionally. I see a word, I don't know it. It's like, of course I don't know it. I've never seen it. Why would I know that? That's how I think about it. So like there's nothing, I've never once been like depressed about not knowing something. But I know that a lot of people are like that. So for people like that, the way that I approach it might not be good, is what I'm saying. Like there's other ways. Maybe the way that Yuki approaches it would be better for you. For me, I look up every single word. Every time I don't know a word, I look it up. And some people can't do that because it's very discouraging for some people. For me, not so much, and maybe for some of you it won't be. So if you're like me, look up every word. If you're not like me, don't look up every word. Glad to hear that, Melanie. Thank you. Poof.
ありがとうございます。
Andy, I've been learning for over a year now, but I understand I have a lot further to go. What do you recommend to do to keep up the pace for many years? Do something sustainable. Keep it sustainable. Don't overdo it. But do a little bit every day. Do just enough to where you're not burning out every day. And try to do it at the same time, and try to do the same thing. And make it little steps, little activities you can do every day. Play a game for an hour, learn one new kanji every day, something like that. Something every day until you don't feel like you need to do it anymore. I don't study anymore. I'm studying other things now. I may eventually. I think I'll go back and I'll probably do like another month where I go really hard at something. That's what I tend to like to do. Just I'm gonna play visual novels 8 hours a day or something. I'll do that for a month. I really like to do that kind of thing, and then like level up really fast and then forget about it for a year. That's my way that I am now. That won't work in an early level because you need to be more consistent to keep things sticking. But for now, yeah, do a little bit every day. I was feeling brave and tried to play race tier in Japanese a few weeks ago and got lost in the menus and deleted my entire save. Oh no! That's rough. I was in post-game endless mode too. It was very sad. Thankfully, race tier is a fantastic chill game, so I was okay going through it again to the end. Well, that's good at least. I need to head out, but I wanted to thank you all for providing some helpful materials. I've tried learning Japanese for many years now and have made so much more progress than the last time. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for hanging out. You might be gone already, but if you ever see this again later, thank you. What do you think is the final boss of Japanese? Wa and Ga. Wa and Ga is easy. Watch my Wa and Ga video. I explained the whole thing in 2.5 minutes. It's not the boss that you think it is. Or something else. Love your content. The final boss of Japanese is kanji. It's always kanji. The answer is always kanji. And maybe... どうぞ。
和とがのその基本的なその効果はその和が後のものをエンファサイズして、がは前のものをエンファサイズしてるじゃないですか。
The base of kanji of wa and ga is that wa emphasizes what comes after it and ga emphasizes what comes before it.
そうだけど最近思うのは必ずそのこの動詞とかこの文法の時にががアタッチするっていう時が必ずある。
And there are certain verbs that always have ga.
それは覚えなきゃいけない、ね。
And you have to just memorize that.
そのが分かるとか、そのポテンシャルバーブはががつくことが多いこととか、そのができるとか。
そうだね。
基本的にはね。
Yeah.
そう。
Some Japanese learners say you become 聞きづらい if you don't focus some study time on pitch accent. Is that true? Yes and no. I mentioned this a little earlier in the stream. It's probably a good idea to be at minimum aware of pitch accent and listen for it and try to know the patterns. With that said, I never, until very recently, ever, even a little bit, focused on pitch accent because it wasn't nobody knew about it when I started studying Japanese. It wasn't like a thing that people taught foreigners. Even Japanese people don't really a lot of people don't really think about it. So they don't think of it as something they should tell their friends who are studying Japanese about. And I'm fine. I get things wrong, but it's not an issue. I get a lot right. And now that I've studied a little more, I get even more right. So yeah, studying a little bit is fine. Kikizurai, I think for all the Japanese learners who say you're kikizurai if you don't study a little bit of pitch accent, you're kikizurai to them because they only want to listen to perfect native Japanese, and maybe that's all they've listened to, so they feel it sounds weird when a foreigner speaks Japanese. To them, it's the learners. You're kikizurai to the learners. Japanese people pick up way better than they do. Think about it this way. You hear someone with a French or a British accent. Do you find it impossible to understand them? Do you dislike or think that the way that they speak is bleh? Or do you think it sounds kind of cool? I think it sounds kind of cool. And Japanese people do too. So it's the same thing. You hear Japanese, you hear someone speaking super American, they're like, oh, he's American. Doesn't mean they don't understand him. They're just like, oh, he's American. And then they talk to them in Japanese and they're fine. The pitch accent thing is, do you want to sound more like a Japanese person? That's it. And if you do, you should do it. And will it make you a little bit easier to understand? Yes, because obviously someone speaking in your dialect of English is going to be easier than someone speaking with a slightly different accent. All the time. That's how it always is going to be. But are you kikizurai? Not necessarily, no. Definitely not. French accents give me a headache after a while. Yeah, for some people it'll be like that. Some people love them.
なんかプロナウンシエーションの問題だったら、なんかモラをはっきり言うとかさ、
right. Like I mentioned earlier.
バルをはっきり言うが。
That was what I was mentioning earlier. If you've got what you need to worry about more than pitch accent, although I do think you should be aware of pitch accent. I think it's worth putting some time into. But what's more important is extending your vowels, not extending vowels that don't need to be extended. Moras. Understanding moras. Every sound has exactly the same amount of time as the other sounds. All of them. Every single one. All the time. Even when something sounds like it's devoiced, like when you have a ku that becomes k, that k sound still has a full mora every single time. So getting that down. And what was the other thing you said? Extending, not extending vowels, and small tsu. So small tsus. The little glottal stop. If you get that down, even if your accent is a little weird, you'll be fine.
そう、意外にね、それでね、ピッチアクセントが全然良くなくても、わかる。
Right. You just know where they're from. That's all.
そう、わかるんですよ。
Some people they'll do like really terrible pitch accent, like when you'll see some foreigners who are really good at Japanese. They'll do like really terrible pitch accent, or maybe their accent is very like non-Japanese, and they'll use raru, ro, re, rose, or whatever instead of rarirudedo, but they'll speak with perfect vowel lengthening and perfect moras and everything. And Japanese people are fine. Like the comedian, what was it? Atsugiri Jason. His Japanese is actually excellent, but for his comedy skit, he would speak more like a foreigner. And he was wildly popular on Japanese television. Wildly popular. And everyone got what he was saying. So that should be a hint. Any recommendations for hardcore learners?
Remember 好きこそものの上手なれですね。
Hardcore learners just read and play games all the time. If you're quote hardcore, just do that. Do nothing else.
どういう意味？ハードコアラーナーズってどういう意味？
People who don't mind difficulty and have lots and lots of time. You're not a hardcore learner. 8時間もストラグルしても疲れない。
すごっ。何それ？
For example, yeah, if you're a hardcore, quote, hardcore learner, you have 8 hours a day, just read, play games, and watch TV all day, every day, and do lessons if you can speak with people as much as you can. That's it. Manglam pitch accent after watching a video strongly discouraging it is this. I'll learn the 4 basic patterns so I can hear it, but I'm not going to drill it. Yeah, I wouldn't bother drilling it. I don't know if I'd discourage it. I'd be interested to see that video, though. pitch accent is good to know, but this idea that people won't like you or whatever is, if you don't know, it is crazy. Absolutely, absolutely crazy. It's just a fear tactic to get you to buy people's products. Actually, French accents. Oh yeah, I saw that earlier. Anecdote: my new sensei is from Kobe, and she said people know she's from Kansai because she pitches konnichiwa different. Yeah, different areas of Japan have different pitch accent, obviously. My wife gets after me if I draw out vowels in Japanese. Yeah. Also, if you extend like tabemasu. That's what foreigners do, stuff like that.
それだと言わないかもしれないよ。
But all I'm saying is there's different patterns that different people have that wouldn't be very native, but that's fine. But if you say koko instead of koko or koko, if you say koko when you mean here, you know that might be an issue. Or if you say koko instead of koko. So if you extend that vowel when you actually mean here, koko, then that might cause issues, stuff like that. I can barely get my pitch tone in English right. I sound like a robot. I don't think I have even the slightest chance of getting it down for Japanese. It's very different in Japanese, but I find myself pulsing my speech on the moras. Definitely need to work on that, for sure. Did you already go over the stream changes? No. I need to talk about that now, actually, because it's getting a bit late. You happy that she fixes your Japanese? LOL, I was saying something wrong for years and my wife said it was cute, so she didn't fix it. Yuki says that all the time. She doesn't anymore because it's our job.
そうだってね、そうただね話してるだけだったらいいよ。そう可愛い感じじゃんみんな。
There was lots of mistakes.
ちょっとつまずいたりしてさ。
Right. They find it, and that's another important thing, though. That's another thing that I think is worth knowing. Your wife, my wife, lots of people will not correct you because they think the way you say something is cute. But they understand what you're saying. They just don't want to correct it because they want you to keep doing it because they think it's cute. And, you know, you might not like that because you want to know what the real thing is. But it gives you a good bit of information. And that is, it's way easier to understand you than you think, even if you make mistakes. And that should, like, get you more excited to speak because it's fine. You're going to be fine. With that said, Yuki does correct me now because... I have to teach people it, and I shouldn't be making mistakes.
もうそうね、つまずいてる人がね、日本語教えるって言ったらね、私重大責任重大ですよもう。
How could I have the right to teach someone if I'm making certain mistakes? So she started correcting me a few years ago when I made a mistake on a stream or something, and she says, actually, you know, that's a mistake you've been making for like 5 years, and I never said anything because I thought it was cute. And I was like, you've got to tell me that stuff. I just said this live in front of 50 people.
すいません。
And she's corrected me ever since.
そう。
I'm trying to play the Yokai Watch 4. Nice.
最近はやってるよ。
Yokai Watch 1 was very good for not beginners, but very good, I think. I'm guilty of that to her in English. She tells me I have to be careful because some words sound very similar to others with the way I say them. Dogen's course on pronunciation is very good. I agree. It was very good. I used it, a bit of it. When do you suggest? You could become aware of it right away. Like don't wait. Like on my website, I added a very short lesson on pitch accent just to get people aware of what it is at the very beginning. Whether or not you like focus on it ever is going to be up to you. And it doesn't matter when you do it. It could be right now. It could be right in the beginning. It could be later on if you want to focus on it at some point. But it's worth being aware of what it is and what the patterns are right from the beginning. I think I've changed my tune on that to thinking it's worth being aware of right away. So I did a video on my website. It's like a 10-minute video where I introduce it because I think that.
N3 でも私はピッチアクセント必要じゃないと思うんですけど。
She doesn't think you need it even at N3.
っていうのは、N3 のレベルになってくると、そのさカタカナの言葉結構出るよね。
There's a lot of katakana words, yeah.
そのカタカナの言葉が英語に聞こえると私たちは聞き取れないじゃないですか。それがその日本語っぽく喋れればピッチアクセントは関係なく。その言葉がわかるから、そこまで問題じゃない。やっぱり発音、モラをはっきり言うことの方が、
She still thinks saying moras correctly is more important.
そう、漢字とか熟語がいっぱい出てくるんだけど、N3 になると。だけど、その例えばさ、なんていうの？ 天井とかうをちゃんとはっきり言うとか、
Like when you say ceiling, 天井、
そうそうそう
saying that extended u.
あと N3 じゃないけど例えばなんですけどそのなんていうのケンタッキーフライドチキンみたいなのをKFC って言ったら分かるんだけどマクドナルドとかもマクドナルドみたいな感じで言うと全く分かんないわけね。
それはピッチアクセントですよ。
そうでもそれは
マクドナルド。今ユキ言ったのは多分私たちっぽく言えないからそう言ったけど、ユキの例文今の例はピッチアクセントの違いだけだった。ユキはマクドナルドって言っただけでそれエンファシスだよね。
そうそれは英語バージョンでしょ。
アメリカ人言うのはマクドナルドって言うんだからわからないんだよね。So what's important is to get
でも日本人では一人もマックのことをマクドナルドと言わないよ。
もちろん。だからit's important to get the moras and the pronunciation down katakana like and stop saying katakana where it's like English is what she's saying in N3 because there's a lot of that.
はい。それピッチアクセントだった。
最初の例がただピッチアクセントが違っただけです。
間違えちゃったんだ。
I want to answer this question quick, John B. Do you think it's possible for an adult learner of Japanese to eventually reach 100% native level? Some people think reaching native level is impossible if you started learning after puberty. It depends on what you mean by 100% native level, because not 100% of natives are 100% native level. There's no, the main issue with that question is there's no such thing as 100% native. It's just not a thing, because every native has a different level of Japanese. Just like everyone speaks, has a better, some people have better vocabularies in English than others who are both natives. What it comes down to in the end there is how much do you read? Do you read a lot? Then you're going to have a better vocabulary than people who do not. It's just like, it just comes down to that in the end. So it depends on what you mean by native level. Do you mean 100% perfect pronunciation? The answer to that is I doubt it. You're always going to have a little quirk. There's a few natives, there's a few foreign speakers who are very, very good at pronunciation. The first ones that come to mind are Dogen and Matt versus Japan. But if you play just their audio without their face, a Japanese person, if they listen for like less than a minute even, maybe 30 seconds, they will know that they're foreigners, no matter how good they are. If you were to listen to Dogen for 30 seconds to a minute, would you know he was not Japanese, do you think?
そうだね。
Yes. Matt versus Japan as well.
そう。
Everyone will know he's a foreigner. Because there's some little quirks that you just can't get rid of. And it's not because you're an adult. It's just the languages are so different that you might have a hard time. Now with Spanish, maybe you could, because it's not so drastically different.
でもそのさ、道元さんとかマット VS ジャパンさんって結構さ、その自分たちでもすごく言葉の音に気を使って喋ってるじゃないですか。
Japanese people.
そうだから
aren't that careful?
そう気にしない人は分かんないかもしれないけど、絶対その喋ってるうちに、ネイティブじゃないなんていうの必ずボロが出てしまう。そう。
She said you can tell when they're speaking, people like that who are really, really careful about their pitch accent and stuff, that they're being very careful. You can tell. And because it takes so much focus to be that careful, eventually, if you listen long enough, they're going to stumble somewhere. And that's when you pick it up. And that's what happens. So I don't think it's possible to ever be, if you mean perfect 100% pronunciation that always sounds native, it'll probably never happen. But like I said, if you mean like 100% native level where you get the perfect expression every single time, I don't think there are a whole lot of bilinguals that ever reach that level in any language. There's always like little differences. You'll even find, I've seen research that shows that like kids who are raised bilingual, they're never as good at like each language as a person who only speaks one. There's always like little differences. So it comes down to what you think 100% native is. And I think the idea of 100% native is probably not worth holding on to.
そうなの？バイリンガルだと それって生まれつきのバイリンガルじゃなくてハーフじゃなくて
生まれつきっていう、うん、そう、ハーフみたいなもんで。
ってことはハーフだとなんか
Their English is never going to be as good as a person who only speaks English, and their Japanese is never going to be as perfect as a Japanese person who's only ever spoken Japanese. Just because your attention is in different areas and you spend more time, like it just
そうなんだ
statistically speaking, or no, just because of how much time you have with each one, it's always going to be a little bit weaker than someone who spends all their time in one language. It's just like it's an unavoidable thing, and that's fine.
相当上手に
Of
なれる
course,
けどね、
that's what I'm saying. I'm not.
ネイティ
I'm
ブ
saying it
が
doesn't matter.
わからないぐらい
Exactly. So what all I'm saying is, what is 100% native to you? I see these ads that say, fact, you will forget everything you learn if you don't write it down. And then they sell you on some dumb sheets for N5. Yeah, that's stupid. With that said, writing things down is useful. But just writing it and then like throwing it away, it doesn't really help.
私はその doesn't daily help のことをやってきましたよね。だって
そうなの？
書いて。
Thanks, Keaton. So.
書いて。
True, just like a fancy pants English professor or daily crossword player has a higher native level than I do, even though I'm native. Exactly, yeah. You two rock. If you ever want a tour of the Google Tokyo office, please. I mean, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Oh.
Just like to say, I've been falling asleep to you guys chatting on these live streams. Thanks, very entertaining, and I like listening to personal stuff you talk about. Thanks, Poof. Sexiest bagel. Hi, Andy. I've been follower and daily viewer ever since you were on maybe Genki 1 Chapter 3, and I've watched you all the way till today and have the JLPT N3 because of your vids that broke books down. That's awesome. Thank you for the long time support.
ありがとうございます。本当だよね。
New video idea, Yuki picking out gaijins in a set of natives with just audio. That could be fun.
できないかもしれないけど
It
ね。
would be funny if she couldn't. That'd be cool.
そう、私の耳ね、結構死んでるんですよ。
She says that her ears are kind of dead, so. I don't even waste my time trying to sound like a native. Just being able to communicate is more important to me. Yeah, that's the main part. Plot twist, one of them is Sora doing his foreigner impression. You can usually tell, even when it's a Japanese person doing a foreigner impression, because all they do is they change the pitch accent. That's it. That's almost all Japanese people do because they can't hear the difference. They don't know what they know that a person sounds foreign, but they don't know why because they've never thought about it. So when you see people on TV try to do like a foreigner accent, all they're doing is changing the pitch accent, which doesn't work because that's not how we sound like. Thanks for answering it, Andy-san and Yuki-san. I've been reading Satori Reader Daily for a month now, and I felt like I improved in reading a lot. Do you suggest to turn off the furigana always? No, you can have the furigana on if you want. I personally like having the, on the Satori Reader, I liked having the one that's like my level. So I think I have everything turned off for like the main 2000 kanji or whatever, and then everything else is furigana. I think that's fine. I've been in the self-study journey since the beginning of the year. What would you guys recommend if you feel like you are not progressing? I've been feeling this for a couple weeks. Just a couple weeks? You'll be fine. With that said, if you want to push yourself a little bit more, that's fine. Maybe try to read something.
でも couple weeks ってことはひらがなとカタカナを覚えたてって感じ。
いや、違います。January から勉強してるけど、何週間はちょっとなんか、
なるほど。
続いてなんかなんて言えばいいプログレスがないっていう気持ちになってる。Maybe challenge yourself a little bit.
本当だ。Beginning of the year って書いてあったわ。
But maybe like here's what you could do. You could try to read something now and then don't do anything different than what you're doing and come back in 6 weeks and see if you understand more. That can be very useful. To see that you actually are progressing. Like the more you learn, the less you feel like you're progressing, but the more you actually are. You just might not have a way to benchmark yourself.
全く同じこと今言おうとしてました。
そうなんだ。はい、ごめんね。何言おうとしてた？
だからもっと勉強して分かるようになると、そのプログレスを感じられなくなることの方が多くなるよと思った。すいません。
止めちゃって。Sorry for stopping her. She was going to say the same thing. The more you progress, the less you feel like you're progressing, but the more that you are.
もう私なんてね、全然プログレスね、感じられない。
She doesn't feel like she progresses at all. But she has. People always say to her all the time, your English has gotten so much better. She's like, what? No, it hasn't. Yeah, and no matter how fluent you are, Japanese people will treat you different if you're not Japanese. Bullshit. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to curse. That's a nice thing people like to say all the time because their Japanese, sorry, is not very good. I've actually made like a recommendation to some people before who work at Japanese companies that you want to be careful not to act too Japanese and speak too well, because then you will be treated just like a Japanese person. And if you work at a Japanese company, that's not what you want. So I tend to disagree with that. I think the more that you conform to Japanese society, and this is true of any society, and the better you speak the language, the better you will be treated. Not the better you will be treated, the worse you will be treated, because you'll be treated more like a Japanese person. With that said, the better my Japanese has gotten, the less and less I feel like I'm a visitor when I'm hanging out with Japanese people. People you're meeting for the first time may be a little bit more polite to you than they would be to a native Japanese person. But in your day-to-day life, if you speak well enough and act accordingly, you're not going to be treated any differently. I don't feel like I'm treated any differently. When I go to the bank and I'm opening a bank account, it doesn't matter that I'm a foreigner. Like, they're not giving me special treatment. They're not treating me more poorly. All they care about is, do you have enough time on your residence card? And do you understand what this says? And please write your name correctly here. Like, that's it. That's all that matters. So, no, I think that's a cope that people say a lot, but I don't believe it. Some of my Japanese friends sometimes ask me how can their English sound more American. I always tell them it's unnecessary. Most can understand you even with a strong accent. Yeah, it's true. Some people want to sound more American though, and that's fine. And there are many. There's a channel. What's the channel that you watch that helps with that? He gives like pronunciation tips and stuff. 昨日見てたやつ。
昨日見てたやつ？
そのイギリス英語のやつ。
大二郎さん。
大二郎さん。
うん、大二郎さん。
Watch 大二郎さん。Yes, let it out.
大二郎っていうチャンネルだと思うんだけど、その
大二郎さん。He teaches pronunciation to Japanese people.
でも he's Japanese.
But he's Japanese, yeah. But he's very good. Man, Sora's English is so good. We joke about him being American. He has an accent, but it's like the Japanese accent of someone who grew up here. Yeah, he is very good. What is going to be changed? Yeah, I've got to.
そうでもさ、ソラ全トロールの人だよね。
No, I haven't updated yet. そう。
ソラさんは割とアメリカ英語だよね。相当。
He's got very American English, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna update you guys and then we'll head out. But I've been using the Genki Grammar series and the Kanji series, but I feel like I need something to expand my vocabulary. Do you have any suggestions on what is good to use these days? Reading anything can help. NHK News Web Easy, things like that. It sounds like you might be on the website. We have like 100 stories there. Reading that kind of stuff can help you a lot. Reading graded readers. The Tadoku graded readers are a great way. Reading is a great way to pick up new vocabulary. Watching new things and looking up what you're listening to. You can get like the add-on for your browser called Language Reactor. And then when you're watching things on Netflix or YouTube or whatever, you can just click on words you don't know. Looking up words you don't know when you see them is the best way to learn vocabulary. 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts. Better than anything. It's the way to go. With that said, at the very beginning, something like an Anki deck can be helpful. Kindly start JLPT test series. I mean, I've already covered all the JLPT up to N2. So I already have all that. So I probably won't like start a new series, unfortunately. I will be covering grammar again, though, because I've gotten better at it. But
でも私ちょっとやってみたいけどね。
Yuki would like to do a JLPT test? Oh, nice. Brittany said, do you prefer furigana in what you read, or is it annoying to have extra characters on the page since you know the kanji so well?
私はね全然ね気にしませんどっちも
She doesn't care.
ただ振り仮名あった方が嬉しい時も結構ある
There are some times when she is very appreciative that it's there, like when it's over a hard kanji.
そう漢字ね読めないやつがね出てくるんですよなんか
I don't think Yuki reads out loud in her head. Do you? なんか読んでる時には声出す。
声出てない。
That's the big thing.
漢字を読めるよ読める熟語とか読めるんだけど漢字を見た時にその意味しか考えてないかも。
So that's the point I'm making is, and I think a lot of Japanese people do this, and it's a wonderful thing about kanji is they don't read out. She doesn't read out loud in her head. Like I read out loud in my head, both languages. So the annoying thing with furigana, if I do know the kanji, is that I read them. I read them out loud. Whereas if it's just the kanji, I might not necessarily do that because I know the meaning, so I can just keep going. And with her, when she sees the kanji, she knows the meaning, so she just keeps going. She doesn't have to say it in her mind. But if the furigana is there, do you read it out loud?
あ、うん。ちょっと読むよ。振り仮名があれば、その読み方、
読んじゃう。
そう読んじゃう。ひらがなだからね。まあでも、その分かるやつはもう。
She doesn't even look at it if it's like a kanji she knows really well. And I've noticed that as well for myself. Because a lot of most manga has furigana and it doesn't get in the way. How long have you been studying Japanese? 12 years.
はい。まあ振り仮名の一番アノーイングなポイントは、自分が書いたそのストーリーに振り仮名をつける。
So the most annoying part of furigana is having to put it on words on the internet because it's such a pain in the neck to add them to websites. So putting furigana on her own stories on the website is the most annoying part about furigana for her. I worked for a Japanese company for 6 years and was treated exactly like the other Japanese salarymen. Got so far away from the lifestyle. Yes. Copium. Do you think to do the JLPT is worth it? Depends. Do you need the motivation to keep going? Like having that benchmark can be nice. Having a benchmark can be nice. Having something to aim for can be nice if you're finding yourself a little bit demotivated. So it's good for certain reasons. Is it good in its essence? Is that the word I'm looking for? Is it like essentially good? No. What is the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But is it like it's a necessary thing? No, it's not. What is the most overrated tourist attraction or place in Japan?
でもさ、わかんない。どこかな。
どう思
う？まずその超有名なトゥーリストプレイスってどこかな。
She doesn't know what those places are.
京都とか。
Maybe
京都もうすべて
The
京
middle of
都。
Kyoto? Yeah.
か京都のそのなんていうのテンポルのこと。
The temples in Kyoto? I don't know. They were kind of cool though. But yeah, a bit overrated.
京都? いや、
Maybe Kyoto? I don't know.
Overrated.
It's hard to say. We don't ever really go.
どこが
we don't go to a lot of tourist places, so I wouldn't know, I guess. I always stumble when reading because of the new grammar patterns, but can go smoothly on the N4 and N5 N4. I feel like when I can't understand the full sentence, it is out of my level yet. It could be, or just read more.
わかったよ。overrated tourist attraction place を。私たちの近所ですよ。あそこのなんだっけモンキー。
Snow monkeys. Oh yeah. Snow monkeys. Super overrated. That's near us. We live like an hour from the snow monkeys. It's Nagano. Super overrated.
結構 overrated だよね。
So overrated. Most overrated thing I've ever been to. Yeah. No. It's very overrated. There's too many people. The onsen's small and dirty, and the monkeys don't even really want to be there. They just keep getting food thrown at them so that they'll come. They don't look even very happy.
まあ冬はハッピーだと思うけどね。
They're happy in the winter, I guess. Yeah.
だけど
But then there's like a million people. And,
そう。
and it's
夏はねもう暑いのにね入んなきゃいけなくて
yeah. In the summer because there's still people coming to see them. They keep throwing food in the onsen because they don't actually want to go in, but people want to take pictures. So yeah, overrated, 100%. Pretty good at programming is horrible. This has come to Japan.
ねえ、本当ありがとうございました。本当その説は。
Exit one up as far as the emergent material goes. That's sort of up to you. If you felt that you struggled on one, I do recommend coming back to it. If you found something very easy, then there's no real reason you need to come back to it. I would say the only reason to come back to one that you've already done is if you struggled with it. And especially to benchmark yourself. So like if you struggled with it, coming back to it can also, you can maybe learn something more the second time you're there, but also it can benchmark you. You struggled with it a month ago, but now it's super easy, and that can be very motivating. So for that reason, I do recommend going back to the difficult ones. Do employers in Japan want to see a JLPT? Some of them do. Yeah. It depends on what you're going to be doing. But if you can speak perfect Japanese, not perfect Japanese, but if you can speak Japanese at the interview, a lot of times it doesn't matter. The not reading the words out loud in your head is so interesting to me. I feel like I'm cheating when I forget the reading but know the meaning and can still continue the sentence. Yeah, as a learner, it's probably worth looking it up if you don't remember the reading. But if you know the reading, and you know the reading, like you know the reading, even if you don't read it out in your mind. So if that's the case, there's nothing wrong with it. But if you know the meaning but you don't remember the reading, but since you know the meaning, you just move on, then I mean, you're missing an opportunity to learn. So it is worth looking it up. At the same time, if you're tired and you just want to keep reading the story and you get the meaning, there's nothing wrong with that. Furigane is the words that are on top of the kanji, right? That is correct. Why did you start to learn Japanese among all the... Because I lived here. I came here for 1 year just to make some money, and then I was going to go to India for a year, and then I was going to go to somewhere else for a year, and then I was just going to keep going around the world. So I didn't bother. But 6 months in, I'd fallen in love with the country and decided I was going to stay another year. So I figured if I'm going to be here for 2 years, what a waste it would be to not learn at least some of the language and not actually speak to people who don't... Not be able to speak to Japanese people who aren't just people who are learning English. Because Japanese people who are learning English are not the same as Japanese people who have no interest in English. Japanese people who are learning English are already a little bit different than your average Japanese person. That's already different. They want to go to different countries. They're more open to other ideas. And half of their life is just about English. So that person's going to be different than the oji-san who just wants to golf. Like, it's just a totally different experience talking to them, and they're just different people. So you miss out on a whole lot if you can't speak the language in the country. So I was thinking, well, that would suck, so I want to learn it. So I started studying it because I was already here. ね。
そうだね。よかったね。
まあね。
おじさんたちにゴルフ
I
連れ
like
てって
hanging out with the oji-sans and
連れてって
going
くれ
golfing with
る
them sometimes.
よかったね。
I will have Yuki sing Snow Monkey in that one Genki story stuck in my head for, I think,
そ
forever.
う私ねその長野市ようこそっていうストーリーをね書いてるんですけど、でもねまあ1回ぐらいは行ってもいいって私は思ったんですけど、その
She used to think that it was maybe fine to go to the Snow Monkeys at least once. But
そうだけどねなんかね1回行くと現実が分かってしまうよね。なんか
yeah.
まあそのなんていうの、まあ、シーズンによってなんですけど、ベイビーモンキーがいるときは、
when baby monkeys there, it's kind of cute.
そうそう、
Okay.
結構フレンドリーなモンキーたちがいるんですけど、なんかね、この飼育員がご飯を投げているっていうその現実を知ってしまうと、
zookeeper like people throwing food to the monkeys, it sort of shatters the illusion that this is just a cute little natural onsen that monkeys are going in on their own. It destroys the illusion.
それはね、そういう仕組みなんだっていう感じ。
Hombre, I don't study kanji with the readings on them. So that's the difference we have there. If you know the English but not the onyomi or kunyomi, do you pass or fail? I don't make cards with the onyomi or kunyomi on them. I think it's a waste of time because there are so many. I learn the kanji, just the meaning separately. And then, well, now I don't do anything. I just learn words. So I just have word cards when I want to learn how to read them. And if I don't know how to read the word, but I know the meaning of the word, I fail it. I need to be able to read the word, how it's read, and I need to know what it means. And then I'll pass it. But for kanji, if I have kanji cards, they're just the meaning. That's it. And the writing, the stroke order. If I get the stroke order wrong, I fail it. Personally.
そうか。
I fail it. I fail the card. But I don't combine them. It's too much information for one card. There should only be one piece of new information on a new card. And with a word, you have two. You have the how to read it and the meaning. Apply for digital nomad visa. Going to live in Japan in September. Do you know anyone who has this visa? It's pretty. It's very, very new. So no, I don't. It's new. It just came out like a couple months ago.
めっちゃいいじゃん。
It's pretty cool. I think you can live here for 6 months. 6 months to a year.
そんなに？で働けんの？
そう。
Well,
you can work for your company back home or as like a YouTuber or something like that.
めっちゃいいじゃん。
I was an information science and technology major. I studied computer science in the beginning. How long did you live there before you met Yuki? I met you in 2015.
ああ
15,
そうだ
16?
ね
16.
それデイ
15,
だけどね
We met in 2015, so I was here 3 years when I met her. We started dating after not for like 6 months after that.
うんうん
That's a huge part of the problem too. I don't output a lot because of that. I am off for the night. See you later, Kaylee.
はいまたね
来週会いましょうか。
ねおやすみ
That's the announcement. I know you're leaving and you're probably gone already.
そうか
but-
しまった来週そうかアナウンスメントがあるんですよ
Yeah, so next week there will not be a stream, and there's a reason for that. We're going to make the streams bi-weekly for a little while, and the reason for that is multiple. And the stream format is going to change a little bit as well, hopefully. The reason we're going to make it bi-weekly is because what happens with live streams, I don't know if any of you have live streamed. If any of you have ever live streamed, you'll understand this. It's very draining mentally, not physically. After a live stream, we can go like hike a mountain or do a bunch of yard work and no problem. But focusing on mental activities, like, for example, working on a kanji Anki deck, is very, very difficult after a live stream. So basically, after a live stream, we lose a full day of work.
まあ違うワークしてるからまあ違うワーク
It's fine. It's fine. We do other things, so it's okay. Like other work we need to do that has nothing to do with this. But we're finally able, now that the hiragana video is like on a roll, Dan's working on that hard, we're finally able to shift our attention to the vocabulary deck, which is very close to being finished. And when that's very close to being finished, we can also move into the kanji reading section, which means we'll be able to start working on the kanji more and hopefully get that rolling. With that in mind, losing a Thursday every week for working on that seems like a bad idea. Since a lot of people are waiting for the next parts of the kanji series, we feel like we should spend some more time on that, and we'd like to have Thursdays to work on that at least one every other week. So but we still want to keep doing the streams because they're fun. We like hanging out with you guys, and we think it's good to just keep this slot open for when we do start the kanji series again. So we're going to be doing the live streams bi-weekly. And what we're going to be doing on the bi-weekly live streams in the future is I'm trying to get a set up to work with my Mac because that's what I use to research. And I want to do the research for N4 with you guys on the stream. So I want you to see sort of what happens behind the scenes, how I research kanji, what we do when we're not sure like what kind of meaning to use, or if there's multiple historical interpretations of a thing and we're not sure which one to choose, like what my thought process is when I go through those things. And I want you to see what goes into them so that maybe for multiple reasons, you can see why it's taking so long for starters. And you can also maybe do it yourself if you don't want to wait, or if you're more advanced than where we're at now. So hopefully we're going to be doing that on the future live streams. I had an attempt to where I could get the 4 cameras set up to the Mac, and it didn't work. So I've got a new device coming this week that I think will take care of it, so that I'll be able to stream from that. And if I have that, then I can have all my dictionaries and stuff that I need to actually do the research. So that's something we'll be doing on the live streams as well. We'll also, of course, chill and answer questions and stuff.
Hi.
So something like that, and it's going to be bi-weekly. So next week, there will not be a live stream on the 20th for us. I guess it's 12th for many of you, so the 19th. The following week, there will be, so the 27th of June for us. Then 4th of July will not be a live stream, and then the week after that, the 11th of July, there will be a live stream.
ない
But でも誰もいないんじゃない？
そっかみんなが
パーティー行ってる。
パーティー行ってんだかそっかそうだったわ
Bokshingu's Kendo TV says very interested in your research of the N4 kanji. Yes. Just finished the N5 kanji a little bit ago, so perfect time for me.
そうださらにさそのカタカナもまあやってもいいって思ってるん
And
ですよね
we're also planning on doing a katakana video, so we're going to record that. Maybe we'll record that on a Thursday where we would have done the live stream. So we're going to record that, and Dan is working hard on the hiragana video, or the kana video, which is a combination of katakana and hiragana. We're going to learn them together. Anyway, he's working hard on that, but the kana video will be like on deck for coming after that, where she critiques my katakana, which is probably going to be way worse than my hiragana. So that should be interesting. Sometimes I just forget them completely, how to write them. So that'll be fun. So that's a video that we're going to be working on as well. The hiragana video is mostly done on our end, so Dan's working on that. That'll be out in a few. It might be a while. It's a very big video. It might be 2 months. Who knows? But But after that comes out, we're hoping to have more content after that. Like it's going to roll out fast from when the hiragana katakana video rolls out, then the kanji series should be restarting up shortly after that. Because we're very close on the vocabulary deck, which means we're very close to jumping into the little bit that needs to be changed for the reading and writing of the kanji section. I need the vocabulary deck for the reading and writing because I need to have that as my benchmark, where I only use the beginning part of that deck, the words in it, for the beginning of the kanji series, so that people who are starting the kanji series as completely fresh, they're only seeing words they already know besides the new word for the kanji. I need to have that set up that way, or else it's useless. So yes, that's why that's happening. Can we talk about naze versus nande? Using anime, but in real life, is it rude to say? No, naze is fine. Nande is also fine. There's different levels of casualness.
So,
Politeness
なぜ
is more polite.
ポライトの最上級だとなぜですかがいいよね、
そうだね
多分。なぜですか、
なぜですか？
で、なんでですか、
なん
そので
でですすか
かをつける
If there's
と
des. Then we have naze and nande below that. But they're essentially the same.
はい。
Let's see what else. The breakdown of radical videos on and 5 was awesome.
あ
Thank
り
you.
がとうございます。
So twice a month.
私
something
ね、
like
ま
that,
たブレードスティックを目から出していくことになりますので。
Yeah, you're gonna not breadsticks are gonna be coming out of your eyes for the thumbnail on that
も
one
う
too.
誰私の目からさ。
It does look like breadsticks. I don't disagree. I just finished teaching high school and enjoying summer vacation, so I'm ready to start studying Japanese again. Nice, Tristan. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for hanging out. The return of
ありがとう
Yuki
ございま
Godzilla. I find katakana harder than kanji. A lot of people do.
す。
Wait, when the kanji series starts again, will it still be 2
Uh.
streams? No. So yeah, when the kanji series restarts, it'll be weekly again.
はい。
Did you say your major was information science and technology? That was my major too. Did you go to Penn State? We are. That might be why. Yeah, that was my major. Naze feels more natural. Interestingly, it didn't to me for a long time. Now I like it.
まあどっ
I
ち
like
で
the
もいい
feel
ん
for
だ
it.
よ。
But yeah, either is fine.
そう、なぜでもいいし、
はは
なんで
that's what I
でもいい。もう私ね、マイブレッドスティックも用意しようかなって思ってるんですよ。
Sorry, Yuki, for the breadsticks. She's just going to get the breadsticks out for herself and she'll bring them on stream. We always got another Nittany line in chat. That's nice.
あれ We are の人だよ。We are の人がいるよ。
いたよ。
ね、私もその猫ちゃんとね、写真撮ったよ。
She took a picture with the Nittany line. I showed her my campus. I was at a satellite campus, but she took a picture with the Nittany line back in last August. Was it last September? October? Oh, there it is.
ビーバーってどこ
Check this. Pop this up.
ビーバーってどこ
Beaver is a state college.
うーん
Penn State Beaver. No, that's one of the.
あ、私が猫ちゃんと写真撮ってる
She's
やつ
taking a
だ。
picture with the cat. And then there was one with the actual mascot. Where's the one with the mascot? Oh, there it is.
あ、この人。
We went to my old campus. I went to Penn State Wilkes-Barre, which is a small campus, but it was good. The lion.
ねえ、そのライオンなんて言うんだっけなんて
The
言う
Nittany lion.
え
The Nittany lion.
に
Nittany.
どういうこと編まれた
I
膝
don't
ってこ
actually
と
remember what Nittany means anymore.
それともその膝のパッドがニットなの
No, Nittany is a little unclear. The history of the name is unclear. Many say it comes from a Native American word meaning single mountain. Others say it's named after a legendary Native American woman said to be from the area. So it's like an area of Pennsylvania, I think.
へえ
But the history is unclear apparently. So I guess I didn't forget it. I just maybe never knew. What do you think about RTK3, Andy? I've just completed it, but I'm not sure it was very useful. Is that the one where he tries to teach you how to read them? Because I found that so useless that I almost threw it away. I might have thrown it away.
おー
It's one of the reasons I'm making my own kanji series, because I found RTK so great until I reached that point and I was like, what? This is it? I was very annoyed with that. See you later, MB Films.
はい
So will the kanji be lessons each week, but live streams only twice? No. So until we finish the kanji series, it's going to be bi-weekly live streams. when we finish redoing the reading section of the kanji series, it will once again be weekly live streams from then. So the purpose of the bi-weekly live streams is to give us more time to get that done because it's taking a long time. And we're finally on a part where we can do chunks of it every single day. So we finally finish like enough to get to that point. So it's like within reach, but losing a Thursday every single week. But it's not like today is a day off for us. Like this is work. So it's not like we feel rested after we lose the Thursday. So we still like have to take like one day off a week, ideally. So losing 2 days a week is a bit too much at this point. So we want an extra Thursday, 2 Thursdays a month to get this project done. Are you coming to the end of the stream now? Yes. Yeah, but for the 2,200 to 3,000 kanjis. Oh, I see. Where he goes into the extra ones. Probably not really important unless you expect to do like a kanken to above kanken level 2, like the native Japanese thing. Otherwise, it's probably not worth it. Oh, apparently in order of how common they are. No, I don't think I've ever done that one. It'll be, if you're really into it, then there's nothing wrong with that. There's lots of people who keep going with kanji and get thousands and thousands, even though you'll never see them in real life. Granted, I was reading a book. I was reading an old Sartre novel in Japanese, and there's a lot of kanken level 1 kanji in that. So maybe they show up more than you think. Thank you for the update. I've got to head off. See you later, Brittany. Head off to the airport for red eye. Have a good one. Great to discover we both went to Penn State with the same major. Small world. I'm headed to bed. Have a great day. You too, Alex.
Hi. ありがとうございます。
All right.
まあね、でも私はあんな悪口を言っちゃったんですけど悪口じゃないよね、ただオーバーレイテッドだと言っちゃったんですけど、みんなね、そうスノーモンキーに She's feeling guilty about not recommending the monkeys, so go see the monkeys, I guess. 違うもう見に行きたければね、一緒に行ってもいいよ。
If you want to go, she'll go with you. She said, if you want to go to the monkeys, she'll go with you. Are you going to register for Bokushingu's Kendo TV? All right, we are going to head off for today. We've got some things to do this afternoon, and I am going to try to push through the mental blocks that usually happens after a live stream and get some stuff done anyway. But good night to you too, Poof. Thanks for hanging out.
ね、ちょっと頑張りますのでね、カタカナもブレッドスティックも用意しとくんでね。
Hair's getting all puffy today, like a peacock.
あ、そう、これね。
Oh, Yuki too?
あ、私の。
だって俺は何も入れてないのに。I didn't put anything in my hair and it's like all puffy. It's nice. You too, Superpower. Thank you. You too, Keaton. Have a great day, Haley.
ありがとうございます。
Enjoy your day. Thank you both. See you all in 2 weeks. Yeah, we're going to do a lot of grass cutting this afternoon. So.
そう。
そんなに遅くまで待てなくてもいいかもしれないね。曇りだし。
曇ってるからね。
Lots of grass cutting today. Have a good one, guys.
はい。
We have to go visit Come to Japan in Fukuoka. That is that's high up on our list of road trips. Fukuoka.
ねえ、行きたいよね。
Very high on our list.
ただね、レイニーシーズンに福岡はね、そう九州にね、レイニーシーズンに行くとね、そう、ちょっとね、命を落とすかもしれん。
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks.
はい。
Thank you both, as always. As the comments tonight have indicated, you've been so helpful in many people's learning journeys. See you next week. See you in 2 weeks. See you in 2 weeks. Thank you, Morgan Blessing. Thank you, Maya. Thank you for the content. You guys in Game Gengo have been helping my language learning journey so much. That's awesome. Glad to hear that, Brian.
Hi.
Small world, indeed. All right, guys. Well, have a good week. 2 weeks. We'll see you. We can still hang out on the Discord, or if you have any, if you're on the website, well, I'm sure we'll see you in the comments there. We see lots of you every week, every day. Yeah, また再来週。はい。Have a great one, guys. Thank you for hanging out.
ありがとうございます。
See you next time. はい。せーの。また次のビデオで会いましょうね。はい。See you later, guys. バイバイ。またね。
ね、この2週間後だとさ、ね、もう夏至も過ぎちゃうしさ、私のね、このイラストのね、メイントピックがさ、もうスキップされちゃうんですよ。
そうだね。そっか。4th of July。
うん。それもね、
それも書いてもいいし。
次の週に
ね。そう。はい。じゃあ、see you later, guys. バイバイ。
バイバイ。